What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as I said the other day, it's probably best if we are patient with the Verdansk launch, right? Again, it's great, new content. Go ahead and enjoy it if you really want to, but in all reality, when it comes to giving tremendous amounts of praise, we should probably hold off a little bit until things are completely situated. The nostalgia glasses are kind of lifted, and we can see things for what, honestly, they truly are. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you guys something. Scrolling through Reddit, Twitter, no matter where you go, boy, oh boy, it's not looking like things are going too well when it comes to Season 3 here across the board. Multiplayer. I think Zombies is probably running the best, but Warzone as well are apparently running into problems, and I'm going to be showcasing to you guys all the issues that people are having right now. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, before we go and dive deep, if you guys are interested in more content just like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I post daily here at 8 morning Eastern Time. And of course, if you guys are interested in any of my live streams, I do stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch, starting between 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you guys are interested, gotta link that channel down in the description of this video. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, I do want to start off with a bit of positive news for Black Ops 6, just to begin with, because I don't want to go straight into the negatives, because to be honest, it is going to be quite a negative video today. So, let's give you guys a little light here. As you can see from the Call of Duty updates page, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, the following playlist update is now live. Added map voting to Overdrive, and Nomad in the Season 3 Mosh Pit is now available in non-face-off modes. That is what I'm talking about. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys heard my commentary, you already knew how I felt, but I also heard other commentaries as well, and people felt the same way, that the new face-off map here, Nomad, should be a 6v6 map. Honestly, it's not like it's not the same size as something like Payback or Babylon. Like, there's so many smaller maps in the rotation, but Nomad is only face-off. We should get it in the base rotation, right? And they went ahead and did so, so I do appreciate that. I'm just curious if it's going to allow streaks or not allow streaks, because I've tried to find it. I literally have farmed lobbies for like 30 plus minutes trying to, get this map to come up in 6v6. I still haven't seen it, so I guess we'll see. If any of you guys have actually been able to try it out, in a live 6v6 match, not going into face-off and not going into the Season 3 mosh pit, loading into just straight up 6v6 TDM, Dom, hardpoint, whatever, and finding this map. Are you able to call in streaks? Because that's honestly what I'm most curious about. But, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of positivity here, but the remainder of this video is going to be kind of a downer, if I'm going to be real, because again, we're going to be discussing why I personally was, really advocating for people to be patient when it comes to this brand new update, because we don't know if all the real core issues have gone ahead and been resolved. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to Black Ops 6, I think a lot of you guys know, for me personally, there's three major things. How they release content with the new live service era of Call of Duty, the anti-cheat, and the servers. Now, again, we already know how the content scene is going here. It's not going to change. We already knew multiplayer got screwed over, and Warzone's going to get all the love. And honestly, I know Warzone has been going through a drought. I'm just hoping that out of all of this stuff, the sacrifice that has to go with the rest of the game, they will eventually separate the IPs. They go back to Verdansk. They're changing all the gameplay to make it its own identity instead of matching it with BO6. So my idea is that they're trying to separate it. That's all I'm really seeing here. And if that's how the future is going to be, then it's a win-win. Warzone can have their, community hyper-focused by a different team, and our community for multiplayer, zombies, so on and so forth, can have our game hyper-focused by their own development teams, not having to worry about how the current game is going to meld nicely with the Warzone experience, right? It's a win-win at the end of the day. But, with that being said, Season 3 lacks a ton when it comes to content for us to play around with. It is what it is. We'll see how long it lasts. Maybe I'm wrong about this. We'll see the tolerance of a lot of the player base, but for me personally, I'm giving it like maybe a month tops, if even, for me being very intrigued to come back into the experience. Demolition will probably get me to come back a little bit more, but like I said, maybe even less than a month, maybe a couple of weeks. But the other, main focus points here are the anti-cheat, and let's be real here, it's not been resolved. You can scroll all over social media, and you see people doing the most absurd things. And it's sad, too, because it seems that the cheating has gotten worse. If I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, beforehand, it might have been some aimbot, wall hacks, so on and so forth. But now you see people spin botting. Basically, obviously, for anybody who doesn't know, you just see a character flying around in a circle, and they're literally beaming every single individual that comes into their crosshair. It's just, the cheating is so blatant right now that I got to be real, it's kind of embarrassing. I really thought that they meant that Season 2 and 3 were going to be major improvements. But in the back of my head, I'm always very realistic with it. They got to show us proof at this point, As much as I want to be optimistic about it, we all knew that Activision is Activision. And we also saw behind the scenes that they are hiring a new manager to be the head of the anti-cheat. So although I do believe the anti-cheat will improve to be something solid, If we're going to be realistic here, ladies and gentlemen, they definitely lied when they said Season 2 and Season 3 were going to be the major improvements. And as you can even see right here over on Reddit, they're taking a step further. I've covered this before in previous videos because I thought it was very suspicious, but here we are again, redoing the same activities. As you can see from Light Risku saying, so I take it Ricochet is still turned off. And it was a clip of, an obvious person cheating. It's, very clear, very obvious. And the moderation team removes it. I've said this in the past. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's Activision being fishy and they have their fingers dabbling in the moderation team, or if it's just the mods being, a little sensitive, I suppose. This should never happen. It's people exposing cheaters. I don't see any reason for anybody to strip this type of content because it's not like it's false or lies. It's not like someone is just getting outgunned by a skilled player. No, it's literally someone spin botting, like literally flying around as fast as possible, and the whole feed is literally just them catching bodies. That's a very obvious cheater. I think they should be exposed. That's just my opinion. I want to know what you guys think down in the comment section. Do you think cheaters like this should be exposed, or should their identities be hidden? If you guys believe that, I would love to hear your take on that. But again, they're cheating. They're doing something to ruin our experiences. They should be banned, and seeing their tag, seeing their name is very crucial. Like for example, with X Defiant. If you actually saw someone blatantly cheating, you could record the footage and send it to them directly over on Twitter, which was a great system because it allowed you to directly ban cheaters without having to go through the whole system to see how things go. That's basically what this is, Anybody from Activision can come on through and check out all these cheating accusations, and they can see with their own eyes that someone is indeed blatantly cheating. They can get their gamer tag. It's over with. But the moderation team removes this content constantly. I don't know if there's any rules about talking about cheat. I don't know, but if there are rules against it, I think that should be changed heavily in the future. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you think Activision are dabbling their fingers into the moderation team, trying to, keep things low? Or do you think the moderators just don't want to see this type of stuff being spammed across the Reddit board? But regardless, the cheating problem is huge, ladies and gentlemen. It's not resolved. And like I said before, yes, Verdansk is going to be fun for a while for a lot of people, but I think that it's going to slowly wear off once the cheating problem becomes more relevant. I do. Maybe it won't. Maybe cheaters can run rampant and people will be absolutely in love with Verdansk. But I've always said I don't think it matters what map it is. It just comes down to these things they need to perfect, the anti-cheat and the servers. But with that being said, let's actually talk about those servers. Now, for me, I'll be honest with you guys. My connection has been surprisingly pretty decent when it comes to Season 3, although I have gotten packet burst. I would say in about 2-3 days of playing the new season, I've gotten packet burst one time. One day, and it was when I went over to 10v10. So I guess the game was a little bit more stressed out, although I don't think that's an excuse, because Modern Warfare 3 had 10v10 for the whole life cycle, and I never got packet burst at all within any of those experiences. So I don't know. You can take that information as you please, but I've got it one time. So I feel like the servers might be improving, but I'll be honest, I think I'm in the minority here because not only have people been continuously coming into my stream chatting it up, saying that their experience has been very laggy, I've been seeing them lag. And also, when it comes down to it, if you go across any, like I said, social media platform, you will just see tons. I'm not even going to read these off, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just list them for you guys. You can just see them with your own eyes. There are so many posts about the just connection, the connectivity to these servers that just started with Season 3. And this is just an overabundance of them being flooded over to the Reddit board of people who are running into similar issues. So again, like I said, although mine might be a little bit better, it seems the mass majority of people are getting hit pretty hard, and these posts are getting likes too. People are agreeing. People are also saying that they're having many issues. So I'm sorry to report, but it seems the servers didn't get upgraded either. It seems like they're still in a very rough spot, and they haven't been resolved whatsoever. And the saddest part of this all is that if you go over on Twitter and you go to the official Call of Duty page, it's a post by them saying, "A massive thanks to all of our Call of Duty studio partners who put in tremendous effort to make Season 3 unforgettable. From the diabolical mansion of Shattered Vale, to iconic and new favorite multiplayer maps, to the long-awaited return to Verdansk. We'll see you in the lobby." I love how they're trying to say that they were doing a lot of work for multiplayer in this. I do find that kind of comical because, again, as a multiplayer guy, as I said many times before, this will probably last people a couple of weeks before they start getting bored, if they do play the game consistently. But under this post, like I said, although all these issues are going on, this is the type of praise that, the official Call of Duty page is getting. Warzone is genuinely so good. I pray that we don't get broken integrations again. And, I agree with that statement, but again, tremendous amount of prayer. And although, the problems that everybody's been begging for are not resolved, we've said many times in the past that yes, maybe, reverting some of these changes to how OG Warzone used to play and giving, a map I guess everybody preferred, yeah, it could be fun. But the biggest issues are cheaters and servers. We've said this time and time and time again, and I've seen all of these top tier people say it time and time and time again. But nobody's speaking out. Again, another person here, fantastic work, most fun I've had in years. Thank you for one of the best Call of Duty updates in a long time. I really wish it was one of the best Call of Duty updates in a long time. You see, I feel like Verdansk really is weighing heavily on some of these opinions, which is fair, because a lot of these guys probably really enjoy Warzone. And, it's a good Warzone update, so I could see a lot of these people being happy. But looking at the overall Call of Duty picture, like I said, multiplayer got really neglected. I think this one was definitely hyper-focused to Warzone and zombies, but I would say Modern Warfare 3 definitely dropped better updates that covered everything across the board between, all three of their games. Well, I shouldn't say all three. And you know what? I'll take that back, because zombies got kind of hit a little bit. But maybe I'm being a bit spoiled here. But 6v6 has always been the core of COD to me. I don't think it should ever be neglected. I don't think, this game mode should ever be put lower than anything else. Again, maybe it's just, like I said, me being spoiled and me wanting what's quote-unquote best for me, which is what everybody always says on the internet when it's not. Like I said, I just really think that 6v6 is a staple of this franchise, and it should always have the same amount of respect, if not, equal more than everything else. But that's just me. I don't think it was that phenomenal of an update. Another one, W season, just basically everybody praising the Call of Duty page for putting out some, good content for the Warzone crowd, I'm assuming. I don't think anybody here is really talking about multiplayer. I really don't. Although Call of Duty mentioned multiplayer, I don't think anybody here is talking about it. I think they're all thinking of Verdansk. I just hope these nostalgia glasses are taken off soon, ladies and gentlemen. I really do. I hope that they're stripped very quickly so we don't establish this new ego and they don't think that they have to get anything done. They should be rushing right now. I know they just hired a new, like I said, manager for the anti-cheat side of things, but no, nothing should be taking time right now, guys. This is big stuff. This should be resolved as soon as possible. They should be rushing to fix these things, and I hope that the community will change their tone a bit when it comes to what's going on here, because I feel bad. And again, it's fair critiquing things and talking about the good things. I'm going to do the same. Like the meta shift and adding some of these new weapons that actually kind of shake things up. There's some good stuff going on within this season that deserves to be respected and acknowledged. But I think the core biggest problem should always be addressed. And we shouldn't be giving nothing but straight praise. They should know that there's still major problems involved. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget subscribing at that bell. I post daily here at 8 morning Eastern time. And of course, if you guys are interested in any of my live streams, I stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch, starting between 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, if you guys are interested, go link that channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.